When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on. Vladimir Putin and so on. Putin, Vladimir Putin and so on, 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 and so on. Mrs. Merkel, Merkel.
Troszeczkę wolniej. Czy widzicie różnicę? Te same symbole. Ta sama muzyka. August, Disney, Hitler, królowa Elżbieta. Angela. Co się stało z Leibenborn?
Even Vladimir Putin.
James
Could
Bond.
it be that Vlad the Impaler is a secret agent of Her Majesty the Queen? And what would be the plan? Let's have some history lessons in World War II.
Trochę
You
historii.
have the USA, you have the British Empire, the fascist regimes of Europe, and finally the communist parties in Asia. Let's take a look at the flags. You will probably put them like this, at the same level, but I think we should put them like this. Spider in the web, the British royal family. Let's take a look at the map of the Vikings. It all starts in the land of Odin, London, conquering Europe, then expanding to Northern America, and finally the Russian connection with Novgorod and Kiev. So these four main players are actually blood brothers, the Aryans. Let's take a look at the script of World War II. In the USA, create a military-industrial complex. In Germany, sponsor Adolf Hitler and bring him into power. Russia, sponsor the communist revolution and bring in power Stalin. But before this war starts, Britain pulls out its army. Herr Hitler lets escape the British forces. And in the Battle of Britain, some playboys, some dandies, some schoolboys defeat the well-trained army of Adolf Hitler. It's a miracle. And now from a distance, the British and the Americans can watch how the whole continent is destroying itself, wiping out each other's armies. The whole of Eurasia becomes an altar of a giant blood sacrifice. And after the war, the parasites are welcomed as liberators.
So the mighty advance of the Western Allies sweeps on, across the borders of France into Belgium, heading for Brussels and Germany.
Il y avait des caméras partout quand le général de Gaulle a parcouru, à pied, la célèbre avenue des Champs-Élysées.
The Belgian royals, back from hiding in Switzerland. Belgian politicians, back from London, organizing the resistance. Now we enter the Cold War. And now we play their favorite game, divide and conquer. Good cop, bad cop, the red and blue. Best example of this is Germany, divided in two parts. The blue part, the free world, and the red part, the communist regime. And the division in the division is Berlin. The red and blue in red and blue. A little Solomon star in a bigger Solomon star. Reminds me of Belgium, capital of Europe. Divided into the Flemish and the Walloons, put up against each other by some clever politicians, Brussels lying in the Flemish part, with constant language problems between Flemish and Walloons. So you have the little Solomon star in the bigger Solomon star. Ideal place to create the European Union monster. Some other examples: Korea, Ireland, Cyprus, and Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine. Red triangle versus blue triangle.
The 44-year-old law graduate turned comedian was born to Jewish parents in a Russian-speaking part of eastern Ukraine. Shortly after college, he co-founded a production company, starring in a TV series playing a school teacher who accidentally becomes president.
How strange. Let's take a look at the wiki. Apparently, the father of Zelensky is the head of the Department of Cybernetics. Interesting. I want my son to be president.
So cybernetics comes from the Greek word to steer. And as we steer a ship, we want to make it to a goal, and we get blown off course by wind and ocean. So we see that's where we want it to go, we're here, that's wrong, so we correct, and then we go to thought, and then we correct. So cybernetics is about steering and getting to the goal. All intelligent systems have this property. A system cannot be intelligent unless it has those properties, because otherwise it goes and it succeeds or fails, and who knows. But this way there's the self-correction all the time. So a technological system, at least the kinds of interactive systems that we're talking about, have this property of being self-correcting. People self-correct. So cybernetics is about steering and getting to the goal. All intelligent systems have this property.
So all intelligent life can be steered. So if you cannot be steered, you are not intelligent. You get it?
So a technological system, at least the kinds of interactive systems that we're talking about, have this property of being self-correcting. People self-correct.
Well, I think there was no self. Self has been introduced by thought. Thought is pretending to be you. The self, the cube, is correcting you. So now I will self-correct you. If you are an intelligent person, you will take this guy and make him president. This is nothing new, of course, we have seen this before. Now let's say that an ordinary housewife would become president. Oh, by the way, ma'am, did you know that the moon is the reflection of the earth? And the earth is actually a gigantic ball. And in one of those craters we live. The crater is called Sulpicius. At a certain time, well, I guess people would go in mental breakdown. So the chances that an ordinary housewife becomes president is 0. Not a corporal, nor a KGB officer. First you have to be educated with the right knowledge. So maybe if you have $95,000 to spare, and if you are from the right bloodline, of course, you can go to a nice little castle where everybody is happy. What would you be learning there? What knowledge is worth $95,000 a year? Here is the dining room. Reminds me of Harry Potter. Maybe alchemy wasn't that stupid at all. Surely there must be lessons in manipulations. Machiavellism. How to be a good liar. That must be their favorite lesson. Some spells, some witchcraft, some Kabbalah numerology, and finally, when they are graduated, they can be put in society. What are the chances that you can take a picture of 3 children that will become world-famous actors? 0. Now you have all the pieces at your disposal. You can play one giant chess game. Now you can play the game of good guy, bad guy, climate crisis, financial crisis, health crisis, and so on and so on. And it's all about trauma-based mind control, fear. Today we have the European Federation and the Russian Federation. The communist flag has been replaced by this flag, the double-headed eagle with red and blue, the crown, globus cruciger, the rod and the dragon slayer. Symbol of the British royal family. You might say, of course, no, it are the Romanovs. Take a look at this picture. 3 cousins. Tsar Nicholas, Kaiser Wilhelm, King George. These people are not going to fight each other. You are. Then we have the second party, the European Union. Some people say it is the brainchild of Uncle Walt. This is absolutely ridiculous, of course. So now we are ready for the next war, but wait! First, the rats are leaving the ship. Everything is going according to plan, Your Majesty. Baraka. Now Boris can finish the job. But first he has to undergo a cleansing ritual. In the universities they have these baptizing rituals. It's more about humiliation. Bad Boris. Reminds me of the drainer of the swamp. Bad Trump. Now that Boris has been ritually cleansed, he can become the voice of the free world.
We agreed that we would respond in unison to any Russian attack on Ukraine. Further steps to help Ukraine defend herself and by an increased NATO presence to protect our allies on NATO's eastern flank. And, Mr. Speaker, a war that I believe would earn and would deserve the condemnation of history, and I commend this statement to the House.
Nazis on one side, Nazis on the other side, while the Queen and her American army are watching. A line of blood sacrifice is drawn, just like World War I and like the Cold War. I think that they will draw a line through Ukraine and divide it into 2. And Kiev will suffer the same fate as Berlin, Solomon Star in a Solomon Star. Let's listen to what Boris Johnson has to tell about himself.
He will never be able to cleanse the blood of Ukraine from his hands. Now we see him for what he is, a blood-stained aggressor who believes in imperial conquest. He's trying to redraw the map of Europe in blood and conquer an independent state by force of arms.
So true, Boris, so true. Now Boris Johnson starts sabotaging the European Union.
Today I welcome to London the members of the Joint Expeditionary Force, or the JEF, which is a group of like-minded countries that believe in a dynamic approach to military cooperation.
To understand this, let's go back to 2 of my videos. The Vikings were Jews and In Search of the Benben Stone. By moving the Benben Stone, the Crusaders triggered an enormous flood. So they got stuck on an island. From there they started reconquering the world, the Scandinavian countries and the northern coastline of Europe. So these are exactly the countries that are joining Boris. The historical cover-up of this story starts with the Vikings. So it are not the Vikings who are converting to Christianity, it are the Vikings who are morphing Christianity into the Odin cult. The man on the cross is Odin hanging on the tree of life. Christ is not dying for your sins, you are dying for Odin's sins. And that is why you have this mix of runes and crosses. And this is exactly what we are seeing in this Ukrainian war. Runes and crosses. Let's take a look at the flag of the Azov battalion. If you would read Azov in Roman language, it would give you A30B. A is 1, B is 2, that would give you 33. Sign of the parasites, of course. The boys from Rise Above call it World War 33. Take away the rune and that gives you the Schwarze Sonne and a flood. What if the Schwarze Sonne was our crater? And what is the symbol at the bottom? Is it the eagle or is it the ark? Or maybe both. All these symbols are of course revealing the presence of this synthetic overlord. And what are the Russians showing us? A red V and a white Z. Well, the Russians supposedly are attacking the fascists, but they are becoming fascists themselves. Reminds me of this symbol, black and white, Russia. Same story with ISIS, the V with another HH, Heinrich Himmler, here together with Uncle Walt. What if all this black and white stuff has something to do with the Schwarze Sonne? Well, at this point I'm thinking, what if the Schwarze Sonne is the radiation field of the Bandstone? In the Bible, the road of the Ark is filled with disasters. Let's take a look again at the map of Europe. Let's look for signs of this radiation field. Let's start with the location of the Bandstone, London of course, the flag of Jerusalem. Brussels, center of Europe. Then I would say CERN has probably something to do with it too. And finally Jerusalem with the Solomon star. So you can almost draw a straight line. But wait, let's go back to the silhouette of our crater. In the center you had the North Pole, because we are moving in an 8 form. Let's put in Eurasia. Because we are moving in an 8 form, the straight line will become... And what is in the center of this 8 form? Alleluia. Now I understand the Vatican keys and the crown of the Caesar, the Odin, the bloodline of Christ. How big would this radiation field be? Well, I made a video about putting a Solomon star on Jerusalem. All the capital cities of Europe seem to be on it. Let's set in motion the wheel of destruction. At what speed would this system go? No idea. Where would it be now? Let's take a look at the front line of Ukraine. My guess is it is above London. Create the problem. Create the solution. Accept the code of the Queen Elizabeth reign. Maybe it is the end of the Purple Reign, a new blood sacrifice for Odin. Thanks for watching. Bye. Was our creator.
Właśnie, proszę Państwa, pozwolę sobie dodać jeszcze tylko, że chciałbym, żebyście to przejrzeli sobie po kilka razy na spokojnie, dlatego że jest naprawdę dużo informacji w tym kilkunastominutowym odcinku. Linka do oryginału oczywiście podrzucę tym razem za chwilę. Będzie pod tym filmikiem. Natomiast zapraszam dzisiaj 13 października. Każdy powie, że dzisiaj jest niefartowny dzień, bo 13, ale niefartowny to był tylko dla templariuszy. Dla tych, co nie wiedzą, to właśnie 13 zostali wszyscy zatrzymani o jednym czasie. To bardzo ciekawy temat też, jak to w tamtych czasach można było wszystkich zatrzymać o jednym czasie i zabrać im wszystkie pieniądze zresztą, ale to temat na inny czas i na inną chwilę. W każdym razie dzisiaj o 21 na Odysie zapraszam, opowiem trochę o tym, czy krypto to może być bestia, czy też krypto już jest bestią, bo też już są patenty nowe, o tych nowych patentach chciałbym opowiedzieć. Jak zapewne zauważyliście, tutaj jest też podana trzecia opcja, że żyjemy w kraterze. Dla tych, którzy się kłócą pomiędzy heliosową sytuacją, planetą, jak to mówią, Ziemią, a płaską Ziemią, tak teraz jest trzecia opcja, krater. Także co gdyby Schwarzenegger był naszym kraterem? To nie, Schwarzenegger, to nie chodzi o Schwarzenegger, złe przetłumaczenie, to chodzi o schwarze Sonne, czyli o czarne słońce. I tu, gdybyśmy byli odbiciem, generalnie jak to mówią, na Księżycu widać odbicie Ziemi, czyli my jesteśmy już na kraterze księżycowym. Ale to ile jeszcze innych, wiele spraw, które byście chcieli omówić, w każdym razie poruszymy dzisiaj o godzinie 21 na Odysie. Zapraszam serdecznie na żywo. Do usłyszenia. Cześć. Czołem wielkiej, niepodległej, narodowej Polsce. Nie dajcie się zwariować. Trochę śmiechu zawsze się nam przyda. Pozdrawiam.